Calaroga Shark Media. Welcome to Pager Protocol, Episode 3, The Trojan Horse.
The pre-dawn light was just beginning to paint Hong Kong's skyline as Eli Cohen approached the Silvertech Communications building. His heart raced, but his exterior remained calm, the product of years of training and field experience. The keycard Jade had provided felt heavy in his pocket, a physical reminder of the weight of his mission. As he swiped the card and entered the building, Eli's mind raced through the plan. He had 48 hours to infiltrate the secure storage facility, replace the pagers bound for Crescent Shield with Nexus's modified versions, and get out undetected. Simple in theory, nearly impossible in practice. Meanwhile, in a nondescript office in Langley, Virginia, CIA analyst Sarah Miller was burning the midnight oil. The web of connections she'd uncovered surrounding the mysterious pager shipment had grown more complex by the hour. "Director Thompson," she said, her voice taut with excitement as she briefed her superior. "I've traced a series of unusual financial transactions linking Silvertech to a company called Quantum Relay Systems in Budapest. But here's where it gets interesting. Quantum Relay seems to be nothing more than a shell company." Thompson leaned in, his brow furrowed. "Go on." "I found evidence of at least 2 more shell companies, all created within the last 3 years, all with connections to this pager deal. It's like someone went to extraordinary lengths to obscure the true source of these devices." "Any idea who's behind it?" Sarah shook her head. "Not yet, but whoever it is, they're professionals. This level of obfuscation, it screams intelligence operation." Thompson's expression darkened. "Keep digging, Miller. And keep this close to your chest. If we're dealing with a foreign intelligence service, the last thing we want is to tip our hand." Back in Hong Kong, Eli had successfully made his way to the secure storage facility within Silvertech. Using a combination of social engineering and the access codes provided by Jade, he found himself face to face with the shipment bound for Crescent Shield. As he began the painstaking process of switching out the pagers, Eli couldn't help but marvel at the ingenuity of Dr. Levi's design. To the naked eye, and even to most scanning equipment, the modified pagers were indistinguishable from the originals. Only the tiniest alteration in the circuit board betrayed their deadly secret. Eli's earpiece crackled to life. "Status report," came General Ben David's terse voice. "Proceeding as planned," Eli murmured, his hands never stopping their work. "Approximately 60% complete. Excellent. But we have a complication. Our sources indicate that Crescent Shield is growing suspicious. They're accelerating their timeline for implementation of the new communication network." Eli's blood ran cold. "How long do we have?" 72 hours at most. You need to finish the switch and get those pagers en route within the next 24 hours. After that, we'll have a very short window to activate the devices before Crescent Shield has a chance to inspect them thoroughly." "Understood," Eli replied, his mind already racing through the implications. The compressed timeline would make an already dangerous mission nearly impossible, but failure was not an option. As Eli worked tirelessly through the night, Jade Chen was engaged in her own high-stakes game. Seated across from Li Wei, the paranoid head of Silvertech, she expertly played her role as the dutiful employee. "The quality control checks are proceeding as planned," Jade reported, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her stomach. "We should be ready to ship within 24 hours. Li Wei nodded, his eyes narrowing. "And you're certain there have been no irregularities? No unauthorized access to the facility?" Jade met his gaze unflinchingly. "None, sir. I've personally overseen every step of the process." As Li Wei launched into another round of questions, Jade's thoughts turned to Eli. She knew he was in the building at that very moment, carrying out a switch that could change the course of history. One slip, one moment of suspicion from Li Wei, and it would all come crashing down. The hours ticked by, a relentless countdown to either triumph or disaster. Eli worked with machine-like precision, his trained hands moving swiftly but carefully. Each pager he switched out was a potential weapon, a ticking time bomb that could reshape the political landscape of an entire region. As the first rays of sunlight began to peek over the horizon, Eli placed the last modified pager into the shipping crate. He allowed himself a moment of relief before the reality of the situation came crashing back. The switch was complete, but the most dangerous part of the mission was yet to come. Eli's secure phone vibrated, a message from Jade. "Meeting with LW in 30. Need you clear before then." With practiced efficiency, Eli erased all traces of his presence from the secure storage facility. As he made his final exit, he passed a cleaning crew just starting their morning shift. He nodded casually, just another early rising executive in their eyes. Once clear of the building, Eli made his way to a predetermined dead drop location. There, he left a small data drive containing confirmation of the switch and the activation codes for the modified pagers. Within hours, that information would be in General Ben David's hands. As Hong Kong bustled to life around him, Eli allowed himself to blend into the morning crowd. To any observer, he was just another businessman starting his day. Inside, however, his mind was already racing ahead to the next phase of the operation. In Zion City, General Ben David received confirmation of the successful switch. A rare smile crossed his face as he turned to Dr. Levi, who had been working around the clock to finalize the activation protocol. "It's done," he said simply. "Are we ready for the next phase?" Dr. Levi nodded, her eyes bright with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "The activation system is in place. We can trigger the devices remotely, using a message that will appear to come from Crescent Shield's own leadership." Ben David's expression turned grim. "Good, because we may need to move faster than anticipated. Our window of opportunity is shrinking by the hour." As the various players in this high-stakes game maneuvered into position, none of them could foresee the full consequences of what they had set in motion. In Hong Kong, Eli prepared for extraction, his mission seemingly accomplished. In Langley, Sarah Miller continued to unravel the complex web of deception surrounding the pager shipment. And in the hidden bunkers of Crescent Shield, operatives eagerly awaited the arrival of their new, secure communication devices. The stage was set, the Trojan horse was in place, and the countdown to chaos had begun. Little did they know that in a small workshop in Budapest, a technician was putting the finishing touches on a batch of seemingly innocuous walkie-talkies. These devices, destined for the same volatile region, carried within them the same deadly secret as the pagers. The scope of Operation Pager Protocol was about to expand in ways that even its architects couldn't have imagined. As night fell once again, Eli Cohen boarded a flight out of Hong Kong, his cover identity still intact. As the plane took off, he gazed out at the glittering cityscape below, a sense of foreboding settling over him. The mission had been a success, but at what cost, and what unforeseen consequences lay in wait? The answers to these questions would soon shake the very foundations of global politics and test the limits of loyalty, morality, and the human capacity for both creation and destruction.
Pager Protocol is a production of Calaroga Shark Media. Executive producers Mark Francis and John McDermott. Portions of this podcast may have been produced with the assistance of AI. This show is also available commercial-free. Check the show notes for all the links. Calaroga Shark Media.